everybody. Today we are going to read another story from the Spark Story Bible. This is the passage from Luke 24 that we talked about in worship yesterday morning, but we're going to do it a little bit differently. The story is about when Jesus appears to some of his followers on the road to Emmaus. So, to signify that and to signify them walking together, I am going to walk while I read, and I encourage you to do the same. So walk around your living room, or if you're watching this on a phone or a tablet, just walk around the house. Whatever you want to do, be a little active. Obviously, stay within a distance that you can hear and see the TV if that's what you're watching on, but I encourage you to walk while we read. So, if you have this story Bible, it is on page 488. If you want to follow along, feel free to pause the video and do that. All right, let's start. The road to Emmaus. 3 days after Jesus died, Cleopas and his friends were walking slowly down the road to Emmaus. They were walking slowly because they felt very sad. Why did Jesus have to die, they wondered. After a while, a stranger began to walk along with them. Maybe look around you. Imagine that somebody's beside you. The stranger was actually Jesus, but Cleopas and his friend didn't know it. "What are you talking about?" the stranger asked. The men looked at each other and said, "Are you the only person in town who doesn't know what just happened?" They told the stranger what had happened to Jesus. "Jesus was a great teacher," Cleopas said. "We hoped he was the one who God promised would save the world. But instead, he died on a cross. We took Jesus' body down and put it in a tomb. This morning, our friends went to the tomb, but Jesus' body was gone. They said there was an angel there instead. The angel told our friends, 'Jesus is alive, but—'" "Stop being so silly," the stranger said. "How many times do you need to hear this?" Remember, the stranger is Jesus. It was God's plan for Jesus to die and become alive again to save the world. By now, they were almost to Emmaus. Cleopas invited the stranger to stay for dinner, which was normal during that time. Sometimes they would invite people and strangers who were on places to come stay with them to eat dinner and to spend the night. So during dinner, the stranger, remember the stranger is Jesus, picked up a loaf of bread, broke it, and blessed it, and gave each man a piece. All of a sudden, Cleopas and his friend recognized the stranger. It was Jesus. But then, Jesus disappeared. Cleopas and his friends jumped up, ran from the room, and went to tell the rest of the disciples that Jesus was really alive, that God kept another promise. I wonder if Jesus was right beside you now. This story happened again. What would you say to Jesus? What would you want to ask Jesus? What would you want to tell Jesus if he was walking beside you now? So in the story that we just read and walked together, Jesus wasn't recognized by his friends. And I want us to think about how we recognize people. So we may recognize our families, our parents, or our siblings, or friends solely by their voice. We don't even need to see them and we know they're there. Or maybe I'm thinking about when I go to my grandparents' house, I know what it's going to smell like. Or maybe when you're driving down the road and you get a certain smell through the window that you realize, oh, this restaurant is close. So I wonder about ways that we recognize people and things other than by sight. So what I want you to talk about with whoever's around you right now, and your parents are going to be getting the instructions for kind of discussion questions with you. So if you had to describe your house in one smell, what would it be? It can be as weird as you want. So how would you describe it? And if you could have one image of what reminds you of church, what would that image be? And I want you to draw that. Draw how you picture church, what reminds you and helps you recognize that it is church. So I'm glad to be with you today, and make sure you talk with your parents about the discussion questions and a couple of activities that are in the comments below. So make sure to look at those. But I'm glad to be with you this week, and I look forward to seeing you all soon.